If your team got guaranteed money, tell them call me.
Whoop. Make me say, my. I done been around the world.
Yeah, I was made for this.
Player Performance with J.A. Cavalier.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to NBA Player Performance on this Monday, the final Monday of April the 28th, 2025. The Shark and Shuey, we're here with you guys. J.A. Cavalier coming back. Cowboy Capper sending a viral picture to all our chats. I woke up this morning and I said, wow, what a weekend it must have been in Dallas. We got a bunch of games this week. Only 2 tonight. Big conversation. Luke, what's going on, brother?
Everything's bigger in Texas, even J.A. Cavalier's cowboy hat. You got to love it. Cowboy Cavalier, Cowboy Caviar. So many different jokes we could make. I'm excited. New week, fresh mentality. Had a hot streak going to free picks last week, 8-1. Things just cooled off. You know, things have not been super hot in the prop market, and I'm ready to change that. We put the work in. We put the grind in. It's all numbers. It's all numbers, baby. So let's catch some heaters this week, Shark and I. I'm also really excited to have a couple good plays to drop for our parlay at the end of this show. So let's lock in and book it.
Yeah, I could see the parlay hitting this week. I think, as I said, only 2 games today. Tougher card for tomorrow, which is actually rare for the first round of the playoffs. And, of course, going forward, less and less games. But more and more conversation. NBA Player Performance starts now.
I live the bright lights, the type, the crowd lights, where you at, ballers? Ladies, hurry and men, they want a penny, they pay to come see me, where you at, ballers?
Mondays are for momentum. First game on the card, Cavs in Miami, game 4. This game potentially is a funeral game. The Heat really barely made the playoffs, came into this playoff window 8 games under 500, totally outclassed, just got beat by a team record 37 points on Saturday afternoon. We know J.A. was in Dallas. I don't think he's going to be in Miami tonight. I think the fans are going to be not really at a high energy point tonight. And I do think, as I said, this game probably speaks to Cleveland by some margin when all is said and done. But, Luke, we got props. We got conversation. I do have my top free play in this game. What are your thoughts?
It feels like a stretch to want to bet on Miami in this spot because it could be a throw in the towel scenario. I don't want to bet against this Cleveland roster in any capacity. Tough line, but I love the under in general. I'm a props guy, so we'll get there in a sec. The under feels like the right play here for so many reasons. The books have got it right, essentially on the total every time. Shark, we talked about this off air. And I could see it being a blowout where they really slow down the scoring. Or if Miami wants to stay in this game, they have to slow down Cleveland's offense. So I feel like everything's pointing towards the under. The number shows that slightly. So that's a nice take here. In the props market, I will give out a free play here. It's Max Strus rebounds. This guy, he's not a large dude. He's 6'5", 215. He holds his own. He's a good player. He's been a nice role player for a bunch of years now for this Miami Heat team for most of his career. Now he's on Cleveland. Put up 9 rebounds in game 3. That's really an anomaly. I think I should fact check. I think that was his highest output of the year. Yes, he had 9 one other game this season. Complete outlier. So I love a bounce back on the under. Some regression here. First 2 games of the series, he had 1 rebound in each game. There's a lot of athletes on the floor in this matchup. Strus has no reason to get 5+ rebounds. It was a fluke. A lot of bounces going his way for longer rebounds. I don't see it happening tonight. His line's 4.5, showing good value on the under, projecting him for about 3.7. Nice window there for us to cash. First official free play. Lock it in, Max Strus, under 4.5 rebounds. Book it.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I wasn't watching that game on Saturday afternoon, but when I saw the result, I thought to myself, what the hell happened? I mean, Miami had shown some prowess on the road in game 2, lost by 9, but was really tight in the second half before just kind of falling apart down the stretch. You thought they were going to come home and continue that upward momentum and maybe steal one. Not even close. As I said, biggest loss in team franchise history, 124-87. And the craziness of that was that the Cavs didn't even appear to play particularly well in the game.
This is crazy, Shark. Hold on. I did not talk to you about this. I'm just looking at this live on the show. How did Miami lose by so much? They shot 47% from 3. They made 16 3-pointers. That's more than Cleveland. Like, how did they lose this game?
Right. And Donovan Mitchell only had 13 points. Darius Garland didn't even play. I mean, like,
we had
like in the regular season, we had a couple games where it was a game Houston didn't cover at Utah. And we said Houston had like 30 more shot attempts and somehow, like, there are sometimes box scores you look at in the NBA and you say to yourself, like, how did this team lose by this type of margin within this box score and this grid? If you look at Max Strus, I mean, I don't have this off the top of my head, but this might be like the best game of his career in terms of all metrics. 18 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. I mean, he was like the best player on the floor by a significant margin, quickly followed by Ty Jerome. I mean, I guess to a certain degree, maybe there's a bit of a revenge angle for Max every time he plays against Miami. But I mean, you talk about trying to back up success with success. I think it's going to go the complete opposite direction tonight. I think he peaked for whatever reason, 1 o'clock in Miami. I mean, maybe Max is just a total nerd. You know, he just has like super focus at 11 a.m. for the warm up on a Saturday. But, you know, speaking of maybe not being a total nerd, Donovan Mitchell. Let's talk about Donovan. 13 points on Saturday afternoon, 4 for 14 from the field, 3 for 8 threes, 2 for 5 from the line. I mean, come on, man. What are we doing here? But maybe he just knew something. He said, you know what? I went out to dinner last night. I was downtown in South Beach. Max Strus had a nice night's rest. I'll take Saturday off. But I think Donovan is going to ball out tonight. Look, we were talking about it. It's my top free play, but give me a few thoughts and then I'll jump back off it.
Yeah, I'll just comment on what they're saying in the comments here, Chad. Yeah, I did see. Of course, they lost because they couldn't control the paint. You know, we know that. I'm just saying that most times in the NBA in 2025, a hot team from 3 that outscores the opponent is going to win the game or at least be within like 10 points. They were down 40. You do not see a team make more threes, almost 50%, and lose by 40. You just don't see it. That was my point. But you're right. They got dominated in the paint. They couldn't score from 2. Cleveland outscored them in the paint by 30 points. So, like, obviously we know that's where the game was lost. Just an interesting take. Fun to look at the box score, no doubt. Jermaine, appreciate you in the thread. Burnsy's got you with a nice link. We'll hook you up through the rest of the playoffs. Tons of games left, tons of value. And I don't know how Miami gets it done here, Shark. I don't know if it's hard to pick a side in this game. You have to lean Cleveland. I lean the under. I love fading Strus. And you're talking Donovan Mitchell. I want to hear more.
Yeah, my top free play for you guys. It's also a VIP player. We're taking Donovan Mitchell over points, 25.5. And as I mentioned, 13 points. And when I was going through this, I found a very interesting pattern here. Anytime Donovan plays in Miami on a weekend at a non-7 o'clock tip time, he goes under. Every other game he goes over. Very, very polarized. 6 games this year, 3 regular season, 3 playoffs, 30 points, 30 points, 34, 26, and then 12 and 13. You guys notice how significant of a gap that is? It's huge. And both of those games, 13 and 12, were played in Miami on a weekend at a non-7 o'clock tip time. So as I said, I'm joking about nerds, whoever, like, it's a joke. But some people just don't have the ability to wake up, be a morning person, and turn up their energy at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It was one of the worst games of his playoff career. You remember this guy in Utah. He's been a gamer since his rookie year, particularly in the playoffs. This is where he's going to bounce back. And as I said, closeout game. We do not see Miami winning this game tonight. I do think Miami is going to play more defense. And I think in closeout games with a heightened level of defensive intensity, there's a much more dependent the other team is much more dependent on their superstar players to score the ball. And as we said, if you look at this box score over the weekend, I mean, just elaborating further, as I said, Strus with 18, DeAndre Hunter had a fantastic game, 21 points, 6 of 8 from the field. Ty Jerome, his usual solid self off the bench, and Jared Allen with 22. So the point is, basically the entire team scored above their mean, except for Donovan Mitchell. I think this is going to be a total reversal here tonight. And as I said, closeout game. Miami's going to compete, but Donovan will probably have the ball in his hands down the stretch. So top VIP and free play in this game for you guys. I know you guys were in my Telegram dropping some fire and some high energy, so we're giving you guys this one for free. Donovan Mitchell over 25.5. And let's just talk about the actual psychology of this game for a second in terms of what's going to happen in the final result. As we said, we expect lower points tonight, but I think this could go one of two ways, and maybe not too much in the middle, very polarized. I think Miami either competes very tightly here, right around 1 to 2 buckets versus the final margin, final game of the season, playing for pride, ex-championship coach in Spoelstra, or they just get absolutely demolished again. And it's very split, because when you come out and get beat by 37 in a game you should be motivated in game 3, you do one of two things. You either go back and you say, all right, I'm a pro, I'm going to come back and have something to prove, or you are just in that funk mindset and you're dead. I mean, look, any lean whatsoever.
It's like you said, it's one of two outcomes. Either you checked it in already, and like Tyler Hero doesn't give a shit, and like Bam, knows he can't score against this front court of Cleveland, or they're going to be fierce Miami mentality that we've seen over the past few years. I really have a hard tell in this game. I think though the interesting part is, of course, you want to lean Cleveland, but I also think that's a heavy public spot here. I do think when a public sees a team go on the road and outscore them dominantly in the paint and win by almost 40, that the public's going to bet Cleveland tonight. So that's my hesitancy there, to be honest. I think it's a public take. So if I had to pick, this is not a pick I'm confident in. It's a stay away spot for the spread. But if I had to pick, I'd pick Miami to cover here, and I'm not afraid to say it. I do think they have a little bit of dog left in them. I think it's closer to the 4 or 5 point loss, or a very close loss down the stretch. But that's just my take according to what I think the public and books are kind of thinking here. It could absolutely be a blowout. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, and I think one final point leaning towards blowout here is just the fact that I don't think they have a great leader on the court. And I've been saying this actually dating back to the regular season. If you guys remember, after the Jimmy Butler trade, Miami had a terrible time finishing games in the fourth quarter. I mean, really a cluster of games where they were totally in control and then just really incomprehensibly fell off a cliff, like game after game, to even like bad teams like Charlotte, a couple other home games. So the point here is, when I was going through this, I forgot Tyler Hero is still only 25 years old. Bam Adebayo, not outspoken. We talked about this. Andrew Wiggins, number 1 overall pick, Canadian, this whole thing, not outspoken. They don't really have a massive energy guy on the court to keep them going. Teams need that. And I just think that's the type of player they're missing to really compete in a game like this tonight. And, when you do say to yourself, why is the line so high? Of course, the line in game 2 was only -4.5, 5.5. This is up to 9 or 8.5. Books like Cleveland here. And I think books are basically telling us what I just said. Miami gave their best shot in the second half in game 2. They had nothing left in game 3. What do they have to play for here? To go back on the road to Cleveland and get, blown out in game 5 and clearly not extend the series. It's just, for me, it's a funeral spot. I opened up the segment saying it's a funeral spot. I will close it on that. If I had to lean here, I actually would lean towards Cleveland to cover this. I think the line is on them tonight, but it's not an official play for us. As we said, this could go either way. There's a lot of psychological ambiguity here, but we do think the under is the best look in the game, and we do love Donovan Mitchell officially over 25.5 points. Next game, taking a breath here. This game should be a lot more interesting, and I am hyped up for it. 10 o'clock in the Bay, Rockets, Warriors. Warriors laying 3.5 or 4 now, catching some steam back up. Total low yet again. This is going to be a low game. Every single time the Warriors and the Rockets play, outside of one crazy overtime game back in the fall, it goes way under. Top lean in this game is absolutely the under. It is really difficult to see this game going over 200 points. If you guys really go game by game, these teams play like they're playing in the 90s. If you like defensive basketball, this is certainly a game you want to turn into. I will say this. I think there's still a buy low in a lot of the props for Houston. If you look at the previous game, the Houston players largely shot terribly from the field. And look, I know you're looking at basically all the same things.
I am. I think this is a really fun game tonight. I'm looking forward to it. Houston's got to show that they can win on the road. Obviously, Golden State's not going to give an inch. They're the veterans. They've been there before. It's so physical both ways. Really fun to watch. I got to love Sengun in this matchup just in general because he's the best post player by far, by a mile. I mean, Draymond can defend, no doubt, but like nobody is on his level in terms of rebounding and scoring in the paint. So I have to think Houston will go there if they're struggling from outside at all. So just in general, across the board, Sengun's my guy tonight. Official free play, though, is going to be Amen Thompson. This line moved, so this is why you guys join the Free Picks Telegram thread. It actually is a significant movement when you get this much on an assist line. So I posted this morning early, up at the ass crack of dawn, trying to grind for winners. Amen Thompson, Rockets, over 3.5 assists. It's a great buy low spot. They posted his line super low. I mean, it hasn't been 3.5 for weeks now because his usage rate is so much higher than it was earlier in the season. Look at his numbers lately. Thompson averaged 4.3 assists per game this series. So he's already hit this multiple times in the series. Go back further, 5.3 assists per game in April, 4.9 in March, February, all the way up at 6.3 assists per game. Now, not all of those games were consistent lineups, but he's going to play 35 plus minutes tonight. It's going to be tons of opportunity to clear this number. And he's the athletic guy on the floor, like by far the most. So he should attack the rim. I love Warriors defense. They're so good at help side. So you're going to see that lane close up quick. He's going to have to look for the outlet, Sengun and others. I love over 3.5 assists tonight for an official free play. And I have one more after you go, Shark, but don't let me forget, book it.
Second booking of the broadcast, 16 minutes. And those people in the chat were waiting for that. We see you guys in the chat. David Webb, Chad, bunch of sharp commentary. Jared, Ponzu, H-Town. What's going on, guys? Drop your comments. We'll try to engage with you guys as we go forward here. Obviously, only 2 games on the card today, so we're going to, kind of get a little more of a conversational angle within the next few minutes here. For me, this game is a difficult game. We're never going to come on here and say to you guys, we love every card. We have bangers every card. We'd be lying. And we're not lying about anything. We're telling you the damn truth. Just a tough card. This is a game that, truthfully, the books do like the Warriors. My line functionality model, it's going to be tight. Has the Warriors to win by 6. Again, you see this in the playoffs. Tight lines. Look at the games yesterday. Minnesota pushed to 3. The Celtics won by 9 on a 7. I mean, this is just tight stuff. You'll occasionally get an outlier like the Pacers game last night, but most of these things are pretty well graded. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think the Warriors are graded to win by 6, as I said. I don't necessarily think that we can expect a bounce back from Houston on the road. I know that there is a bit of an obsession across media, across gambling spheres on the internet with the bounce back. And I've tried to uproot this throughout the season because I agree. I mean, you love to find a team off a loss that's going to play better in like a highly inspired spot, but not everything is a bounce back. And staying on the road where the Warriors can take control of this series, this is the Warriors. I mean, this is a team that has won multiple championships. They know the gravity of this game. They're not the type of team they're going to say, okay, we're up 2-1. We actually have home court in our advantage and then come out flat. They know this is a jugular type of game because if they win this, then they can close it out game 6 in the Bay later this week. Because speaking of the bounce back for Houston is at home in game 5. We sat here on Friday and we told you guys there are some great, great spots in these 7-game series. We told you guys 0-2 teams coming home in game 3. Fantastic.
What did they do? 3-0 Friday, Shark. 3-0 for us.
3-0. And Burnsy's nodding his head behind the screen because he knows it's the same thing in hockey. And I will say this, game 5, teams coming down home 3-1, maybe even better of a spot. Because these are usually teams that have a higher seed that lost games early in the series. They're playing an effective game 7. They cannot lose. It's the last game of their season if they do. They're usually favored, and they usually hammer. So, guys, we're going to be betting Houston almost guaranteed midweek game 5, not here. I think in terms of Houston, though, scoring the ball tonight, kind of actually the opposite of what we just said about Cleveland's role players all playing just like great over the weekend. Most of Houston's team, forget even role players, top players, just didn't play particularly well outside of the first half on Saturday night. You look at Sengun, I mean, he had 15 points, but he was 1 for 6 from the free throw line. Like, what is that? Amen Thompson couldn't shoot the ball at all, 5 for 16 from the field. And Jalen Green, I mean, he shot terribly, but he also just looked uninvolved in the game. Only 11 field goal attempts, 4 for 11, 1 for 5 from 3. Speaking of uninvolved, he didn't get one free throw attempt. And, I mean, Jalen Green is a very young player. I mean, this is his first, major playoff series. Maybe the physicality is getting to him a little bit. I will say this, in the regular season, when he played a bad game, and there were some of them, young players, they don't bring it 82 out of 82. He usually does bounce back. I do think Jalen Green might get 15 or 20 tonight. Look, what do you think about that?
Yeah, you hit on a lot of good points. First is Houston, game 5. We are betting them. I'd say almost no matter what the line is, completely in alignment. Golden State is not the opponent that you're looking for here in a bounce back. They're just not. It matters so much on opponent for a good bounce back opportunity. Warriors is not the one I'm betting against. So agree with you on all of those fronts. And Jalen Green is an interesting take here. I took him big time to bounce back in game 2. That was at home. He posts 38 points. Great game, but it was a complete outlier because the other 2 games in this series, he looks like he doesn't even want to attack, or when he does, it's really ineffective. Kind of looks like out of control. So it's going to be key tonight to get him involved. I don't feel as confident as I did in game 2 because it's now on the road, and I think he almost could be in his head a little bit. But I do like him simply based on usage rate and shot attempt potential tonight. So certainly not a bad bounce back spot for Green in general, but I agree with the Rockets being a tough bounce back look in general. Where I am going with my second free play in this game, I do like Brandon Pajemski of the Warriors. Super fun player for you guys. If you haven't watched him in depth, please watch this series. Like, this young second-year guy is an absolute stud, super athletic. He kind of does a little bit of everything, and he does dirty work. Such a good defender. He can knock down open threes. I just love his game. And he also had a really unique spot. Game 2, he had 0 stats. I mean, he had a useless game 2. I think he was 0 for 5. I just want to fact check myself on that. But so I'm backing him in a big way tonight because the books are showing us that he's going to have a good game. His PRA line, so points, rebounds, and assists, is 21.5. He averaged about just below that on the season. But his line's been up recently, lately, well above this. So it's a nice little buy low for a series he hasn't dominated yet. He had a PRA line of 26.5 just a couple games ago against Memphis. So obviously a different opponent, but just a spot I really like for him tonight. So his game log, game 2, I don't know why he was so cold, but 0 for 5 from the floor. He literally had a 0 flat line, PRA line for game 2. You shoulda, coulda thought he'd have a bounce back game 3. He did in minutes played, but still shot poorly. 1 of 6, did not hit his PRA line. So I think people in the public are now off of his bounce back look, and I think it's a perfect spot to buy him. I really do. I love this line tonight, so I'm going over 21.5 PRA. If he gets a couple threes to go early in the game, he's going to shoot, and he's going to look for his own shot. He can score slashing to the rim. So just a lot of ways Pajemski can get to this line tonight, I think, Shark. So I'm going over 21.5 PRA for the 3rd official free prop of the show. And one more time for the people, book it.
Yeah, no, I would agree with this. When you look at this, as you said, game 3, 10 points, 1 of 6 from the 3-point line. What is this? 1 of 6. We got Şengün, 1 of 6 from the line. We got this guy 1 of 6 from 3. I mean, this is all over the place. The shooting futility over the weekend. And I think even more interesting than just within this playoff series, but go back to game 1, as you said, he did go over in the points mark at 14. Go back to the regular season. The last 2 times the Warriors played Houston in the regular season, Pajemski had 19 points and 18 points. And, truthfully, I can't say I was sitting around watching Santa Clara play basketball 3 years ago, but I mean, Pajemski and Jalen Williams, how did they not make a run in the NCAA?
I wish I was watching Santa Clara 3 years ago.
Dude, who's the coach?
How were they not?
Santa Clara? Come on, man. How did you not make the Elite 8 with this girl? I mean, freaking CJ McCollum got that far. Steph Curry's the Elite 8. You got Jalen Williams and Pajemski, and you're freaking not even making the tournament. What's the deal? I can't believe
they were not a household team looking back. It's just absolutely wild. How do you not win the conference tournament with those 2 now stud guys in the NBA? Wild.
I never thought I'd be sitting here in 2025 jacked up at Santa Clara not winning basketball games, but here we are. And, you talk about like the depth of college basketball. It's fantastic. But any of you guys in the chat from California who know what happened with that Santa Clara team, please type it out. I know we got some people from California probably in the chat right now. But this is absolutely a buy spot for Podziemski tonight. And I think another point on this, I think that the Rockets are going to bring like double and triple teams to Steph Curry tonight. Like you saw it over the weekend, he literally won that game for the Warriors. I mean, like, it's not to say he hasn't done that hundreds of times in his career, but I mean, like, the guy's freaking 37? I mean, like, the Houston is so young and they defend so well. Dylan Brooks, Amen Thompson, a bunch of these other wings. Like, how do they let him get off like
At some
this?
point, they have to say enough is enough. And I like Podziemski, even if Butler plays tonight. Like, I don't think he'll be 100%. We know that. And even if he plays, like the books know that. And I still think it's an over spot. If Butler sits, I like it even more. So just wanted to throw that out there. If anyone brings up the Butler injury, it doesn't affect my handicap in this game for Podziemski in particular.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And, like, just going back on that, like, Udoka is a great defensive coach. And Udoka also, I mean, you guys watch this. You guys watch the Rockets, and like you see the footage of him on the sideline. He still acts like he's a player on the Spurs, basically. Like he's like trash talking the opponents. Like he got into like some sort of like beef like on the court with Steph over the weekend. I think. Did you see that? Yeah,
he's always just like running out there, like ready to go. Yeah, I think he thinks he's in uniform.
And that's like what brings me to the center point of this psychologically is like. He to me is like stubborn and he like takes it so personally where I could almost guarantee he's saying, if we're going to lose this game tonight, I don't even care if we lose this game. If we lose this series, we're young. We're in the very beginning of our arc as a team here. I'm not letting Steph Curry drop 35 plus on me tonight. I don't care. Like I let Butler go off for 30, Podziemski for 20. Steph gets 8. We lose by 10. He's like literally on the plane after the game, sipping some wine, playing some cards with the guys. And I can almost guarantee there's a soundbite from him. He's like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, as long as Steph didn't go off on us, like I'll live with that. Like
game plan achieved type of thing.
Completely. Yeah. Like he's just like not going to let Steph beat him. And not only that, like Steph rarely has sound bites in the press conferences. Like, he's not really a trash talker. He said something about how I think what did he say? Udoka wanted a reservation at the International Smoke Factory, and then he canceled it or something. Something along those lines. Like Steph's like trash talking Udoka. So like I'm telling you, like this is personal, and it's so interesting because there's rarely ever like a legitimate rivalry within a series like this between a top player and the opposing coach.
Right.
Like this is so unique psychologically. And Anand says, to be honest, it's a lot easier in theory than in practice to stop Steph. Anand, you're a very smart person. Thank you for stating the obvious on that one. We appreciate you. Steph Curry is the best shooter in NBA history. I know. I'm only saying he can triple team him if he wants. Like,
right. Of course, no one, if you watch Steph's tape, like he moves better than anyone in history off the ball. He knows how to get off screens. He knows how to he does mental things that no one else has ever done. So like, yeah, we know it's way more theoretical to stop him, but there are ways to say other guys will get the ball. There's ways to do it. So I agree with that take in general.
And I want to look at the box score from game 3 because I want to just check the dispersion of the other players. Yeah. So Steph had 36 and they only scored 104. So, I mean, you talk about like a massive chunk. Podziemski had 10. Buddy Hield had a very above average game for his standards, 5 for 11 from the 3-point line, 17 points. Gary Payton had a great game. He was 7 for 9 from the field, 16 points. But here's the point. Regardless of what Steph does tonight, you can't expect Buddy Hield to go off for 17 again. And you definitely can't expect Gary Payton to go 7 for 9 for 16 points. So if that's all taken into the context of this game, there's just going to be so much open court and shots for Podziemski tonight. Really, really a fantastic look here. And as we said, we think the Warriors probably do win the game. So a lot of conversation there. It's 30 minutes, and we got best bets. Mondays are for momentum. The Shark and Shuey. Luke, best bets.
Yeah, best bet. My favorite one I broke down on Instagram was in the MLB. So I got to go with the best bet though in the NBA. It's Max Strus. I led off the show with it. Under 4.5 rebounds. A lot to like here for him to go under 4.5. No reason I see him getting 5+ tonight in this game 4. Likely closeout game. If you do follow my Telegram, you also saw I got to throw out the MLB pick. It's J-Rom. It's Jose Ramirez. Over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs tonight. He's facing Bailey Ober on the road. Great spot for the Guardians, in my opinion. J-Rom's comfortable against him. Great career stats. Bonus free pick for you guys. I know it's an NBA show, Shark, but I got to throw in some MLB every now and then.
But we're getting into the MLB. Within like a month, it's going to be almost exclusively MLB stuff here. My top play, Donovan Mitchell, over 25.5 points, over 15.5 points in the first half. Turn up, Donovan.
Oh,
and let's absolutely dominate that one. I have a bunch of other plays that obviously, if you guys want to sign up in the VIP, Bernsey has a link, and let's build out a parlay for the people. It is Monday. We love to do it. We're going to hit one. We're definitely going to hit one in the playoffs. I'll tell you that. The one on Friday did not go our way. A couple of weird things with Paolo Banchero. He got early foul trouble, and then he couldn't rebound because he couldn't be physical. If you guys were watching that game 3 against Boston, Paolo was competing like at the precise level we expected, but he got in foul trouble, and he told the coach, I'm not coming off the court. And then he just basically like kind of was like hands off and like,
which is not his game. Like he's a physical guy. And, but more importantly, we gave them the Magic in that spot outright, Shark. I think we said they'd win as a plus money underdog. You even gave them first quarter, which hit. First half did not. Full game hit, underdog money line hit. Celtics team total under hit. We gave a lot of Shark takes in that game. That was my favorite game of Friday. I watched that every minute of that game. Super fun to be a Magic fan in that spot, which just, of course, wasn't the same last night. It wasn't that good of a spot. So we'll see what happens in game 5. We'll be back on the air to talk that. But, yeah, how many picks should we do? It's only a 2-game set tonight. Should we do like 6?
Yeah, 6 or 7. Why don't you start it off, and then we'll see where we get.
I mean, this is a slightly juicy line, but it's a parlay. I do love Sengun to get a double-double. Someone, I think it was Hanzu, actually threw it in the chat earlier. That's one of my plays I had circled just as a parlay toss in. Sengun of the Rockets to have a double-double. He absolutely gets there tonight, I believe. Other than that, sorry, I was so excited about that one. I didn't circle my other ones here.
What's the line on that, like minus 200 or something?
Yeah, it was right around minus 200. So
yeah, talk about a strong line. Like I think that's an interesting point in terms of the price. People say it's overpriced. It's actually just what it really is. It's a high probability figure. They're basically telling you he's going to get 10 plus points and rebounds. And as we said, it's a great bounce back for him scoring the ball. So I like that a lot as well. Obviously, like 2-1 is not great, but
right. But parlay, it'll be fine. My second take in that game, Van Vliet under 14.5 points. I've been on Van Vliet under this whole series except last game, which we chose correctly to stay off. I think he goes back under tonight. There's no reason I see him putting up 15 plus tonight. I think the line's moved down to 13.5. Still love the under. So Van Vliet under 13.5, 14.5, whatever you can get it at. So that's 2 picks, both Rockets for me.
Yeah, didn't you fade Van Vliet in the points market last week and hit?
Yeah, we had that. We were on a little max play run there, which was nice. I had Van Vliet under 14.5 in game 1. I think it was game 1. Yeah, it was game 1 because the Warriors just dominated them all regular season. Went under easily. So we cashed as a max play, and then I put it on again for game 2 because I knew he wasn't going to shoot. He literally was so cold, and he didn't shoot. I think he had no shot attempts till like almost halftime. So we went under the first 2 games. Sat the third game. It just felt like he was going to at least hit something. I'm back on the under for game 4.
Okay, sounds good to me. All right, let's just do the standard money line chalk, which always wins. And
you've been so good at them. Why we have to?
I mean, well, first of all,
I know it's chalk, but still.
Yeah, I mean they're supposed to win. Like we were joking on Friday, we were saying like there was a minus 625. People are probably giving out his bangers somewhere on Instagram or something. But yeah, I mean the Cavaliers are not losing this game tonight. So minus 400, put that on there, and let's take the Warriors. That's getting steamed up as we speak. I actually saw minus 178 like a half an hour ago. It's at minus 185. So sounds like every sharp bettor in the world is listening to this show live and just pounding what we say. So we'll take those 2. Let's try to get it to 7 because I think we have some good access here. I really do think Jalen Green might have a better game tonight. Was his number suggesting that, or am I just maybe giving him too much credit for bouncing back in a physical playoff series?
I have his line at where'd it go on me? 18.5. I've been projected for 21. So I mean, I don't hate it at all. I simply based on, again, like he's going to shoot probably 17 plus times, like 17 to 20. I don't mind it simply for attempts. I don't think he's going to be crazy efficient, but I could get there with it, Shark.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. I think it's going to be really sharp, to be perfectly honest, because I don't really expect a ton of points in this game.
Let's stay away then.
I think that might be one of those where we look back and we say, okay, yeah, we knew it was tight. It lost by two or 3 points. Let's roll with Podjemski over points, 12.5.
Okay. I want to get on an under here. We said, who do we say? Buddy Hield went off. Who was the other Warrior that went off? Moody?
Gary Payton the second.
Oh, Gary Payton.
I don't even see him on here.
Those are both such low lines. I mean, Hield's line is down to 6.5. Like, that's so low. It's almost too low, to be honest.
What book is that?
That's MGM.
Okay.
Actually, it's on multiple. It's also on Hard Rock. It's 6.5.
That's unbelievable. Buddy Hield has 17. He played a lot last game too. Actually, he played 29 minutes.
This is suggesting to me that Butler's playing simply because of his line.
And Podjemski too.
Yeah.
Because you said it with Podjemski when Butler played late season against Houston. Podjemski still put up 19. So like Butler playing doesn't get in the way of Podjemski. And those of you guys who have watched, they don't play the same role or the same like spot on the court really at all. Like Jimmy like gets down low, he backs it in. Podjemski kind of like just chirps threes and like drives very quickly and whatnot. I really like Podjemski over in the points market. That's a great look. You said Van Vliet under, Thompson over 11.5 is.
Yeah, let me get something back in this Miami game.
How many do we have? 5?
We're at 5. Yep.
Okay.
DeAndre Hunter is also suggesting a really regressed game based on line. He just scored. He had like the best game of anyone for Cleveland besides Strus. His line's it's down to 11.5.
I like that.
To be honest, I'm going to take an under there, Shark. It's a gut vibe. It's also backed numerically very strongly because this opened at 12.5. Go give me Hunter Burnsy under 11.5 points. I really like that.
I think that's a great look. I mean, he averaged 16.7 in the regular season. Of course, that was partially with Atlanta. It's a low line. He just went off. That was probably the highest field goal percentage he's ever shot in a playoff game. And that basically DeAndre Hunter and Buddy Hield and Gary Payton II are like all the same conversation. All 3 of them. They're all guys that went off last game that are not going to repeat, and the game's going to be a different style of play in terms of the ball distribution and shot selection. So that's 6.
Yeah, we got 6. Do you want to throw one more out there? One more prop?
If we can find one, let me see if we can find anything here.
So we've got 3. I gave 3 props. You gave 2 money lines and a prop.
Well, I already put my top play for the show, Donovan Mitchell points over. So let's just add that.
Let's just add it. Boom. Yeah. It also correlates with a Hunter under. So I like it. I like it a lot, actually.
All right. So Burnsy's got that 7 leg, all the top looks. Let's cash. And I think we have some questions. We probably take like 5 questions. Burnsy, we got questions.
Practice? We're talking about practice, man.
We talk about questions, man, on a suddenly not so casual Monday to close April. Let's see what we got. You guys have any good questions? Drop them in the chat and we will answer.
I'm excited for this DGen parlay. To be honest, I looked through it and we're like live capping on the show sometimes, Shark and I, for this parlay. I think it's pretty sharp. I really do. I think all of these are none of these are public dumb plays by any means. I think these are all actually numerically the right side, which is all we're trying to do for you guys. If you've tailed our parlays, if you tail our parlays and do them individually, you'd be way up. So maybe we just tell the people to do that. If you're going to pizza money this parlay, maybe also bet everything individually for, $20 or whatever you want to do. You should come out ahead more times than not. Just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, without question. I mean, we were talking about it on Friday. It was, before the one on Friday, which did lose a few legs, we're covering at least 80% of these. So
it was 80+% hit rate over like span of 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what we got for questions here. Cavs over. Davion Mitchell, 18.5 points and assists. Curry over 32.5 points and rebounds. What do you think?
Man, I don't love either of these. We talked through the Curry take. I'm not backing him. We did last game. I faded him the game prior. So we've been on with his, on and off switch pretty much. I don't see him going off tonight. So I'm not getting on the Curry part. Davion's lines were over lines though when I looked. So you could twist my arm on Davion Mitchell. His line was like 12.5 points, which is a good line for his over. And he can rack up 6+ assists anytime. So if anything, out of these two, I'm going Davion.
Yeah, I didn't cap Davion. As we said with Curry, we think that Udoka is going to have like a personal vendetta thing going tonight and like really might just bring like the whole house versus Steph and let everybody else score the ball, even if they lose. Like really kind of like almost like a kid on the playground just out to get a guy. So I think Curry obviously could do what he does and score 30 anyway, but it's definitely not a fantastic spot tonight. All right, next one here. Cavs over 107. This is not our market. If you guys have followed us, the team total market I think can be very sharp. Obviously, they've scored significantly over this in all 3 games. I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, this is not. I would definitely say this is not really like a sharp take when they're scoring over 120 a game and the books are holding the line so low. This is really kind of a bait line for the over. It's so short. It looks so obvious. We don't love those lines. Just talking to you guys, we're not on the under here, so we don't want to talk you off if it wins. But just be careful when it looks so obvious. I think books are telling you it's going to be lower tonight.
I do agree. It feels like a bait line, specifically with the total in the game sitting at I think it was 211, right? 211.5. I don't know, because to be honest, if you're saying the Cavs are going to score 107. That means the Heat have to score 104 to get there. That means the Cavs don't cover. It feels like an extra short line, doesn't it, Shark? I don't know.
Yeah, it's just weird.
I'm not sure. It's not a spot I'm getting to. But
yeah, and as we said, like this series has been very unpredictable. Like the books haven't really had any handle on this series at all. Like they had the Cavs opening over the weekend at -4.5, and they won by 37. So it's like, you talk about like where the lines are supposed to be like averaging. Like the books have no idea. So you could be totally right. Don't let us talk you off. It's just a tough spot for us.
Agreed.
Draymond under 20.5 PRA.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to fact check this one on my phone because I did not get to Draymond Green props tonight. And by not get to, I mean I didn't see value on it initially.
When I looked at this originally, I thought that his points was like incredibly tight on the number. I think it was like within 1 point of his average. I think that Draymond is just a tough cap because, again, he doesn't score the ball very much. So this seems like this is actually kind of the opposite of what we said about the previous spot. This seems a little high for Draymond, doesn't it?
I would agree. If anything, it almost looks like an overline because you're right. Like his points. I mean, he scored this series 4, 8, and 7 points. Like, why would he go over 20.5 PRA? Like, to be honest, the books are showing you this is probably an over spot for him. But the reason that Shark and I really don't love it is, I mean, Draymond's just dependent on either getting some easy lay-in looks off of Curry's movement without the ball, pick and roll, or knocking down a couple threes. Like, his points are so variable that I don't love it. But this is an overline to me, numerically.
Yeah, and it's what we said. If Curry is really like being locked down tonight, it's going to open up more space for Draymond. Of course, Draymond's not one of the top offensive targets or weapons, but he's just going to have more space to function. So he could go over. It's kind of a funky line. It's definitely not an under line. That's another one of those bait lines to the under. So try to stay away from those. And as we always said, results oriented. It could win, and you say, "Oh, but it won." Point is, you don't want to be on those sides long term because they're not winning sides long term. All right, we got a couple other ones here. Wiggins under 18.5 points and assists. Luke, I think you did look at Mr. Wiggins tonight in Miami.
Yeah, I'm leaning over slightly. The only hesitation here truly is his mentality, because he's so laid back sometimes on the court. He's so smooth flowing, goes with the flow. I wish he had a little more dog in him. I'd feel more confident, because he has been under this whole series. So I actually love it as like a buy low spot. I'm not going to lie. His numbers down to 15.5 for points. So it's a good buy low for a guy who will shoot the ball oftentimes 15 to 20 times if he's rolling and if he's going well. So I don't know. If Hero and Bam aren't stroking it, I could see him going over. I'm not trying to disagree with these takes. I'm just saying where I think it could lean. But you're not wrong for taking it under, simply because he's been there all series. So can't argue this one.
Yeah, I was earlier this morning, I was looking at Tyler Hero, thinking to myself, he's going to have just a game. It's the last game of the year. He's going to show up big. Last year, albeit different roster, but Jimmy Butler didn't play in the first round last year, so that actually more of a similar roster than we're thinking. He didn't show up big in the closeout game against Boston. He couldn't really score. He scored only 15 points. And again, you think Tyler Hero is their best, he's their best scorer, definitely their best, guy with the ball in his hands. He might not score tonight. Cleveland couldn't defend. That would open up Wiggins to score. And again, this is a high line. So be careful of these lines that are very contrary to recent history. Books think they go the other direction. It's tough stuff. Keeping it moving. We'll do two more here. Evan Mobley under 13.5 rebounds and assists. Luke, did you look at that one?
This one I did not. I'm going to trust you on this one, Cristiano. No, I think it could be, there could be value here. I'm not going to lie. I did not look at the rebounds and assists line specifically for Mobley. I will say, I think he had a pretty bad game last game, didn't he?
Yeah, he was okay, I think.
Let's check the box score. Oh, yeah, he did fine. He put up 19, just 6 rebounds. So actually, rebounds and assists, he only had 9. So he was well under this. So you could talk me into it, because on the season, Mobley is putting up 12.5 rebounds and assists. So coming off a game with only 9, going over his season average by 1. We're just walking through this with you live. Numerically, it's an over spot. I'm not trying to disagree with you, Cristiano. I'm just capping it live time with you. Some of the things I look for, just a couple of the hints, other than what we go more in depth on. But so numerically, overline, probably pretty sharp. Wouldn't blame you for taking under. If I'm betting, would take the over simply on functionality.
Yeah, and it's actually a conversation we had on the show on Friday where I said, just as a large-scale remark, generally you want to find spots in sports betting where the long-term average is somewhere and it's moving north from the previous results. And unfortunately, what kind of people do, and I think it's just kind of how we're taught, when we grow up, how to report things. We go find information from the past and then we report it. That's not prognostication to the future. That's just a report. And oftentimes when people handicap, they just go to the recent history and they say, okay, this is what this guy's doing.
This is a trend, yeah.
He's going to do it today. And it's actually, you have to understand that the average is always moving in a different direction. So always understand that. If the line is noticeably just wide gap off of what you saw in recent history, they're telling you it's going to move a different direction. So just keep that in mind. I guess we'll get one more here and then we'll wrap it.
Over, yeah, what a fun one to end on. Oh, betting on overtime. What's the line on that?
I mean, this is almost as good as the exact score stuff.
Right. Maybe we, rather than betting on overtime, why don't we try and guess an exact score for this game for the hell of it?
Betting on going to overtime is the ultimate fun bet that you have. It's a complete I mean, honestly, I think you almost have a better chance of hitting the exact score based on our modeling, because we have direct numerical application going towards it. This is just will they get tied at the end of the game, a dispersion point, and just somehow merge.
Yeah. So what's the total in that one again? I think it's 190. Oh no, it's 203.5. I'm seeing. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm looking to see what line functionality has here for the final score here.
Sure. While you're doing that, the total in the last 2 games, or the scores in the last 2 games, was 104.93 Warriors, and then it flipped. It was actually very similar score, but reversed. Rockets 109.94. So, interesting stuff. To be honest, then game 1 was 95.85 Warriors. So none of these games yet have really soared over by any means, by any sort of the means. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I lean towards Shark to these exact scores. I mean, we
have two scores here.
Love it.
There's not a precise score. There's two scores because of the dispersion, but the total and the gap expectancy is there's not like one precise. It's only it's two. Okay, so we have two final scores here: Golden State 103.97 and Golden State 104.98.
Love it. Put that in the chat, Bernsey, if you can. Say it one more time, Shark.
All right, Golden State 103.97 and Golden State 104.98.
And those, if it's anything like our other days, it's like a plus 11,000 odds to hit. We want to hit one in the playoffs for you guys. We're going to hit a parlay in the playoffs. Let's hope. What if we hit them both tonight? Let's pop it off.
Yeah, I mean, at one point they're going to hit because this is really precise stuff. I think I can get the exact score numbers here somewhere. Anyway, because sometimes they actually scale up to like plus 14,000 or higher.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Exact score. Anyway, not going to sit here and look for it. Those are the two scores that my model is printing out for this. So there you have it. 50 minutes in the books. Luke, give them some words and we'll close it out.
Last words is just appreciate doing this with you guys daily. It's so fun to stay in the chat with you guys, answer your questions, shoot the shit, give our precise analytical takes, and hang out. That's what we're here for. Free picks, VIP picks. We have it all. Whatever you guys want. Please hit the like button. Comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. And we'll be back here tomorrow for a bigger slate, even more exciting parlay. And just for everyone, book it.
Book it and let's dominate. Yeah, tomorrow we got 4 games. And as I said, you don't usually see 4 games on a weeknight in the playoffs. So that's going to be a treat. We have a lot of access tomorrow. And it will get more interesting as we go through games 4, 5, 6, and 7. And desperation really does come to the forefront. But we appreciate you guys on this Monday hanging out with us. The last Monday of April is April the 28th. 2025 NBA Player Performance. I'm the Shark. He is Luke Shuey. For Jay Cavalier, Cowboy Cavalier. He's back. Stay strong, stay fast, stay disciplined, and let's dominate.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. Suffocation, no breathing. Don't give a fuck if I cut my